Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about controlling the price, green light for AMC, the gamma squeeze build-up, and many more in this video. First, we're taking a look at this. Why are we seeing 6 decimals for AMC? Sub-penny levels, fractions of a cent, occur in dark pool trades in off-exchange venues. High volume, high frequency of AMC off-exchange is used to control the price, even out to the millionth of a cent. They are fighting AMC tooth and nail. So what we're looking at AMC is once again going into the decimal places. You can see for the movements, you can see for the price 1.489999 and the price is 0.030001 movement. So clearly something is obviously going on here. And this is something we've seen that happens pretty much only to AMC wherever we're talking about the price it's at, wherever we're talking about the market cap of its company. You don't see it happen often to companies similar of its size. And so this is something that we've seen happen in the past before, especially with how dark pool has been used to manipulate the price of certain stocks, in this case AMC and GME. We know that even to this day, the suppression is still ongoing and it's actually ramping up. And there's a lot of things that we have yet to be uncovering because of the fact that institutions are helping one another, regulations are helping the institutions. So what we can only see right now is the manipulation, but truly not how big of a manipulation. The reason why I say this is because if you take a look at these FINRA fines, when we're talking about two different firms which are all being fined, firstly one for 610,000, one for 550,000. Now, upfront, it may sound like a lot, but when you talk about how much it was affected, $300 million in transaction and more than 150 million shares. FINRA never says what companies were impacted or by how much. So already when you take a look at the amount of transactions and what it actually means, the fact that they only got hit with a 610,000 fine, it already talks a lot about what's going on. If you take a look at this, Blue Ocean Trades, they trade billions overnight, but they couldn't spot 270,000 sketchy orders. So the reason why this is important is because they don't say who placed the trade. They don't say how many shares included in those 270,000 orders, how much money was made off these trades, or which companies / stocks / investors were impacted. Now, already when we talk about these questions, answers should be popping up to your head. And when we talk about what companies are likely to be affected by this, you would also very likely to have an answer, because this is something we've seen happen to GME and AMC throughout a numerous amount of times. And one of the things we've been looking at recently, and this is something we've seen always happen for AMC as well, is truly how much dark pool is being used. When we take a look at the 30-day average, we were looking at 75%. When we saw individual days, there were days of 80, 85, even close to 90% in a day of dark pool usage. And here you can finally see why dark pool usage is important. The reason why we always take a look at it, because it's used to manipulate price. It's used for institutions to profit from themselves despite what actually should be happening, and is used at the stake of impacting retail investors. And this is what we are seeing. And so after 5 years of dark pool abuse, spoofing and fake news attack by shorting hedge funds, they're still manipulating the price. They wouldn't be doing it if retail buy, hold / add hadn't trapped them. They have a massive synthetic short they can't easily cover. I'll keep adding. And this is what we've said with how it just makes sense for everything. For AMC to see so much dark pool still to this day, it would mean that institutions are trapped. It would mean that the institutions are worried for the price of AMC to go up. And again, the only reason why they will be worried for the price going up is because they have short positions. And it's why we see this dark pool institutions, why we see other short sellers and market makers internalize trades, is because they are all doing so that they don't get bankrupted, they don't get squeezed by AMC. But eventually this won't work anymore. We are already seeing how that liquidity is happening, how the stress is being allocated and being implemented on these short sellers, and it will only be a matter of time until we see everything crumble down. You can see what we are seeing is that right now the trick is getting enough buy volume to overcome the max pain algo. The issue with that is that so much of the volume is now shunted to dark pools. So we're seeing AMC go up, and you saw the day prior AMC went up 11%. Today we went up 2.63%. Now bear in mind, whenever we are green, it is very impressive to see this. The reason why I say this is because what we need to do in order to have a green day is not only do we need to beat the dark pools that's already routing 80% of the orders away, but also fight back against the algos, also fight back against the synthetics, fight back against the FTDs. We have to do all of this just for AMC to go green. And the effort it goes through for AMC to go green, when you apply it to any other stock, you will see it actually have a massive difference. The reason why I say this is because for AMC to see a day of 2.63%, it means that we beat everything I've just listed. But for that volume to hit other stocks, you would see 5, 10, 20% because they don't have to face the billions of shorts. They don't have to face the 80% dark pool. They don't have to face the FTDs. And it's just talking about how impressive this is, but also why it's so difficult for AMC to see constant green days. But is one of the biggest things right now, and why we're going to continuously seeing this bull pressure coming in, is because we obviously talked about recently Adam Aron buying 250,000 shares. And this is pretty much a very, very good sign because it shows his confidence for AMC. And you can see not everyone now is going to believe this fact that AMC is doomed. Now, when you talk about the retail investors, and this is not talking about apes, but this is talking about retail investors who look at AMC, who are affected by the mainstream media. They may think that AMC is a bad company. They may think that AMC is going to go down. But of course, once you've done your research, once you realize everything going on, you realize it's the complete opposite. But now with the CEO buying, it's definitely already giving an extremely good sign. Now for the apes, we didn't need this, but this is still the cherry on top. So it's obviously very, very good. Furthermore, we have to understand about a big fact about AMC. AMC has gone through 2 pandemics back to back and has survived COVID, the writer/actors strikes. Right now, we are in the same exact position as GME was back in 2020, and the CEO just gave you the green light. So when we talk about truly what there is for AMC right now, about the opportunities, this is what we're seeing. And just kind of what we've been highlighting and repeating for the past few days is just how confident and big the fact that Adam Aron has bought shares of AMC. And on top of this, you can see the 5th major recent collaboration of AMC and Netflix. Now, just yesterday, while I was talking about the AMC and Netflix collaboration with the release of Narnia, but I also said is that doesn't mean that that is going to be the next collaboration. We're very likely going to be seeing collaboration coming up very soon. And that literally happened a day after, and where we're seeing this right now. And so this is what we've said with how, firstly, this is just one collaboration of the many to come in the future. But secondly, it's a very good indication of the fact that streaming services wants to partner with theater industry. We are opening up a whole new market. We're going to be seeing multiple other companies, because there is more than one streaming service companies, to come to AMC when they see kind of the revenue of this, when they see the opportunity of this. And so this is a very good start for the future already. And it feels like it's beginning to look like a coordinated effort, with AMC planned implementation of these innovations to begin once they get a debt refinancing runway in order. So we have so many things. We have Adam Aron buying, we have collaboration with Netflix. More importantly, right now, we have this. AMC theaters will be screening select World Cup games with cinematic audio. Games will be broadcast in Spanish. Now, I think this is actually very, very good. Again, another big market opening, and I feel like it's something that's going to definitely attract people, because the World Cup is going to be a massive event. It's going to attract so many viewers, and this is going to be a good thing, because not only is it going to increase revenue, but it opens up the venues to multiple things. One of the reasons why I say this is because if it attracts multiple people who doesn't normally go to AMC to come to AMC theaters, and once they realize how good AMC theaters is, this is another future customer that they've just got. But secondly, it's also talking about the potential opening of other sports events. One of the biggest things that Adam Aron has been vocal about is college sports. And so this could be the start to obviously welcoming some other markets within the industry. And so when we see these people who are trying to publish and single out reasons for AMC's latest but very modest upticks, none of them are enough to move the stock price. what's enough are sinking liquidity and leverage problem for the shorts. And so you're seeing them how they talk about AMC opening up a new menu, AMC opening up a new whatever, but the real reason is that shorts are struggling. There's a liquidity stress that's ongoing. And when you take a look at the pressure map, some of the things we talked about is of course short interest, borrow fee, shares available. When you take a look at all of these, it's all showing bullish pressure signal. And so that's what we ultimately understand why AMC is going up. And so one of the biggest things that we're waiting on is when AMC pulls its car move. The major difference is that the candles to the moon will be much longer and any pullback will be minimal at best. So this is what we are of course waiting on, and with the recent build-up is something that's becoming more and more likely. Another big thing is that currently for AMC, the per patron margin jumps is doing extremely well, and it's definitely inviting people to buy AMC. Is definitely showing an incentive for AMC. And recently we've had a few perhaps people who were panic selling. And the reason why I am mentioning this is because it showcases the foundation of AMC getting stronger. It's just the filtering system. The ones who are in AMC right now are the ones who have been here from the start, the ones who are here for a very strong conviction. And that's ultimately what's going to get AMC to that upper level. And so, you know, a big thing, like we've said, with what we're doing right now, firstly, the per patron margin jump, with the collaboration with Netflix, how well the box office is doing, you can understand why all of these things are important. And when you take a look at the chart of AMC, right now we're crossing that line. We're seeing a similar pattern to where AMC was back in 2021, back in 2024. And so these are all very, very bullish signs right now. Already fundamentally and sentimentally, we are seeing good signs. But then when you add the cherry on top of the technicals showing good pace as well, this is what we want to see. On top of this, the AMC gamma exposure is still expanding. Now, we're not surprised by this because we are understanding why more and more people want to buy in, why more and more people are buying calls and applying the pressure. So this is obviously going to add up to that gamma squeeze if it is going to do so. But another thing on top of this is the fact we are seeing how $6 call strikes was added to AMC's July-December options. This is obviously very bullish, and it's going to be something that's then going to add even more pressure, and kind of adding on what we've said with that gamma squeeze, with that gamma pressure buildup. These are all adding to that exposure. And so that's what we want to look out for. And also, a thing that we mentioned yesterday was, of course, the conservative talking about how AMC retail have been buying the float, and how we're already seeing 10 extra floats, how we're also seeing the floats increase every day. But what we have to understand is that it's even bigger than what we think, because already this was a conservative calculation, at least in my opinion. But the reason why I'm saying this is because the recent tokenization, which allows unlimited creation of shares without the actual consent and agreement of the company itself, it just feels like they're trying to give institutions a way out because they have created too much synthetics. And for me, it just really kind of implements what we have been saying. It really just highlights everything that we've talked about in the past before. And so this is why I think that the squeeze is, and MOAS is going to be bigger and closer than ever. We're also looking at the GameStop short interest surging, especially with what we've seen recently as well, with the eBay, with what everyone else is doing. And so this is something that is also very, very interesting. Another big thing is the reverse repo. We've seen how the Fed is quietly becoming a lender and borrower of last resort. So yesterday we saw it jump to 25 billion. Today we're seeing it at 3.2. Now, the reason why this is significant was that yesterday's 25 billion had far less participating counterparties than when it was 12 billion. What that means is that more people now needs more money than ever before. And suddenly we're seeing a drop to 3.2, which showcases that people need money, but there isn't enough liquidity that's being injected right now. And so that's obviously spelling a massive disaster. And then on top of this, hedge funds are now shorting the US market at the highest level since 2021. So it really feels like something's about to happen, and we're going to be seeing some people getting crushed. As always, this is Financial Advice, and I'll catch you guys next time.